Hello, thank you for watching this webinar. It is Business Built for Lifestyle, and we have with us Aaron Marshall. He is a franchise owner in Portland, as well as Kelly Giard, CEO. First of all, Business Built for Lifestyle. What does that mean, Kelly, in terms of how is that reflected in the clean air model?
Yeah, so I know Aaron's situation pretty well. Use him as an example. He was working for the Portland Trailblazers and doing customer service, sales, account management, that kind of stuff, and pretty traditional 9 to 5 sort of lifestyle. Weekends and evenings to yourself. And now he lives outside of his territory. He lives in a small community that's ideal for his family and his kids with their education, and his lifestyle too is taking breaks to go windsurfing or whatever he wants to do. And he's replaced that income and now looking to grow it. And so that he's a great example of what we can do in our business model if it's done correctly.
Awesome. And Aaron, Kelly kind of touched a little bit about your background. Can you kind of talk about what you were doing before Clean Air and what kind of caused the shift to look into starting your own business?
Yeah, absolutely. As Kel said, I was working at the Portland Trailblazers for 10 years. I've actually think I've now been a Clean Air. I know I've been a Clean Air owner longer than I was at the Trailblazers. I was thinking about that yesterday as I was raking up pounds and pounds of leaves. So that's actually a pretty big benchmark for me. But one correction, Kelly, from Kelly's statement is weekends were not mine and evenings were not mine. Because of the NBA, I was having to be at majority of games.
Yeah.
So that was one of the tipping points, after doing it for 10 years. And at the time I had little kids, and that life, I had very little work lifestyle balance. So that's what got me kind of the push of looking for other opportunities, wearing a suit and tie over and over and over again, having to be at the office from 8 to 5, and then potentially in the arena for another 4 or 5 hours afterwards. And that would usually entail entertaining, which usually entailed a few beverages.
Mm-hmm.
As fun as that can be, it got, it wears on you after a little while. So yeah, that is kind of what started it, getting out of that kind of that repetitive culture. Corporate culture. And then so I started kicking things around, and I think it was through a LinkedIn ad actually.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And so when you decided you're going to take this jump and you're going to start your own business, how did you decide that Clean Air Lawn Care was the right fit for you?
Yeah, I mean, it happened very quick. I don't know if Kel could attest to this, but Nate, who was working at the time, I think he at one point said I was the quickest turnover from the time I sent in my information to the time I signed on the dotted line. It just started checking a lot of boxes, and it could have had to do with, because when I was looking at it, I remember the evening it happened. I was sitting at the table and I was drinking a little bit of whiskey, and it popped up, and I sent in my information, and I actually never found Clean Air on LinkedIn or in wherever I found it. I never found the same ad again. But it started checking boxes. I went to school in Fort Collins, right? So I immediately felt comfortable with the company without having met anybody there. I was like, well, they're in Fort Collins. Cool. Fort Collins was awesome to me for 4 years. It was an outdoor opportunity where I didn't have to wear a suit and tie anymore. So it checked that box. It had a low barrier to entry. I didn't need to, refinance my house and do all this crazy stuff just to become an owner. It gave me the flexibility because I could see the scheduling possibilities with lawn care business. I knew what the winters would look like, and freeing up that time was important to me. So it's and then also it being a environmentally focused opportunity as well. That was huge too. So it checked those 5 boxes immediately. And then as we went down the road, and I talked again at the time, Nate and Kel, like it was very seamless. We clicked. It just, it just worked very smoothly.
Awesome. Kelly, and could you kind of touch on, Aaron's experience when he, signed on? Is he someone who is typically an owner, I guess, in terms of like what type of person he is, what he was doing prior, and that kind of thing, and his family situation?
Yeah. I mean, he had the skill set already to sell, and that's one of the number one qualities we see in our most successful owners is some background in sales, and just dealing with people. And so it's a pretty easy service to market and sell. But our best owners are very good at sales. They don't really have to try hard at it, and they enjoy it. And so that background is pretty common. And then, working for 10 years at the Trailblazers shows a level of success too. So not anybody can get that job and then keep it. And so it says a lot, when he's coming in, that we can have confidence in what he's going to be able to do at Clean Air too. So he fits a very common profile. When I think of our top owners, they're very similar to him. They don't come from lawn care. They come from white collar typically, and we call it going green collar, where you're sweating a little bit, you're doing some good stuff for the earth, and you have a good cash flowing business too.
Awesome. Cool. So Aaron, you're 10 years in, or more than 10 years in. What does a typical day look like for you now?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the season. Spring and fall are certainly the busy times. Summer, it slows down for my responsibilities a little bit, and then winter as well. But this week, this time of season, I'll be in 4, maybe 5 days a week. And again, as Cal mentioned earlier, I do live outside of my territory. I used to live right in the middle of my territory, 5 minutes from the shop, but now I'm just under an hour to the shop. So I'll go in 4 or 5 days. I try to lean towards 4, of course. But head into the shop, and I'll usually be the one there first, make sure that batteries have been charged the day before. Just, I want to put the team in the best position to succeed. And then I'll greet all of them. We'll have our little banter in the morning. Sometimes we'll have a meeting. Sometimes we won't. And I'll make sure everybody's got everything they need. And then I'm usually the last one out the door to go do. Again, this time of year, I'm usually going to pick up some leaf piles that have been left behind. I will go do some properties, or I'll team up with, one of my team members to do, some of the bigger properties. During the spring, it's kind of the same thing, but the responsibilities will shift a little bit. I'll maybe go mow and edge a couple properties, but I'll be, focused on some aerations as well, definitely fertilizer, and we do fertilizer in the fall as well, overseeding, pruning. So it can be a mixed bag for me. That's kind of the nice thing where I'm at with a good employee team, is they kind of take care of the day-to-day mow, edge, blow, the singular worker in a singular truck model is how I roll. And if they need to be paired up is kind of when I'll jump in and do the extra work as the extra set of hands. During the summer, things dry out, and it's really just mow, edge, blow at that point. So I only come in maybe 2 days a week, maybe 1 day a week, and that's almost more just to like make a presence, make sure everything at the shop is cool, say hi to the guys. Again, just kind of pop around and just make sure that they know that I'm still present.
Yeah.
And then during the winter, there's not much at all. So again, it's, spring and fall is for maybe 5 days a week. Summer drops down a little bit. And so it just kind of depends on the season.
What about sales? What are you doing with your sales? Are you doing the sales?
Yeah. No, good point. Yeah, no, I do 95% of the estimates. I've got one team member who this summer I was gone for a little bit, and he picked up and did some estimates, and he really enjoyed it. So come the spring, I'll probably enable him to go on a few more of those as well. Because he did a good job, and he's been my longest term guy. He's been with me almost 7 years. Really good guy. He may not have any manager qualities to him, unfortunately. He's good, but I don't know if he cares about that. But he the customers love him. Like, he's the sweetest guy out there, and I get the most compliments on him. But 95% of the time, I'll go out, I'll meet the customers, I'll see the job site, and then I'll send the estimate, later that day when I get back in front of the computer.
Yeah, cool. So, being a franchise, there are different things kind of built in, different owners you can have conversations with. What part of the clean air systems and operations has kind of helped you grow your business?
Yeah, it's kind of evolved a little bit. Early on, it was a lot of the, getting just the foundational work done with the support of the team. All the back end stuff at the time, it was setting up QuickBooks and all the website stuff and the Google business pages, all that basic stuff. And then now I probably don't lean on you guys as much as I could or should, but certainly, on the billing side, Donna is a huge help. I try not to hit her up too much, but sometimes there's a need to do it, but she's always super responsive. You and, the other members have always been super supportive when I needed help or advice with Indeed ads for potential employees, or trying to ramp up to get some new leads and some new clients in the pipeline. But for me, I would say it would be the accounting side, the back end QuickBooks support, helping me when I do price increases for certain customers. I can just send a list to Dawn with the appropriate stuff, and then she'll kind of backfill the stuff in QuickBooks, which saves a ton of time. So that stuff. But again, I haven't needed to grow the business too much over the last few years, just kind of fill in some gaps. But obviously you and I have talked, for 2026, maybe doing a little bit more. So I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit more with the help of Chris as well. So
awesome. And Kelly, question for you is, Aaron kind of talked about how he started off and how things have kind of progressed over the years. As a new owner, signing on Clean Air Lawn Care now, what could they expect in terms of marketing support, in terms of IT support, things like that they get kind of onboarding?
Yeah, it's very dedicated. We have people that do these functions really well. They've been doing it for a long time, and so they're pretty turnkey in terms of bringing on a new owner and a lot of one-on-one time. So that's really, I think, the biggest value point, because every owner is different with how they open and the needs that they have. Somebody might not have sales experience and they need to basically learn how to sell. And so we'll diagnose that and then help them with that. So it's really the commitment to their success where I think we separate ourselves from other companies that do similar things. Is we really take on each owner individually and give them everything they need until they get to the point where they don't really need us as much. So I think that's the most important thing. And then because it can be hard from a headquarters perspective to want to take the call when Aaron's not happy about something. It's not like he's mean. It's just, that he's not getting what he wants to get done. He wants to do better, and you want to help him. And you're trying, but maybe it's not working. And so you kind of have to grind through some situations with supporting franchise owners. And I think we have people that are willing to do that. And so ultimately, they can take their business to where they want to go. So, yeah, I think that's what separates us. And then, the big piece too that he alluded to is just understanding and evolving with this digital marketing world. It's just constantly changing. And so we're just constantly investing in trying to figure out what's working, what isn't, and dedicating, money and people to making sure that we have systems that are keeping up with everything. So.
Cool, thank you. A couple final questions here is one, Aaron, what have your business is allotted you a lifestyle to go do fun things, to be with your family, whatever that might be. What are some of the biggest contributors to allowing you to do that? Obviously, your business is doing well, but thinking about like, the way I do this, the way I have the way I price, the way I have something set up, what would it be, do you think, that would contribute, kind of having that lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, from the very beginning, it was very intentional. I wanted it to be flexible. I wanted to be able to have the time. Now, of course, again, as I mentioned, there's always those weeks or there's months where things are slammed and it's tough to come up for air. But I don't want to, give Kel too much credit. But I followed the model that they provided from day one. And I don't know if it's changed much. I can't imagine it has, but it was grow one truck a year. And for the first 3 years, I filled one truck a year. So 50 or 60 new accounts every single year, kept more money, new money coming in. And it made it, that growth strategy for me was manageable. I never got overwhelmed by it. But that growth provided a steady, good cash flow where I could pay bills, I could pay trucks off, I could do that sort of stuff. My big thing was I didn't want to, and I still, last truck I bought, I don't go out and spend, I don't buy really expensive equipment, I guess, because I know I'm not the one using it. All my trucks, they're all used. They all have over 100,000 miles on them, but they're all paid for. So I was a believer of just starting off slow and steady, and that's kind of been my approach. And now I've kind of plateaued, and I'm starting to get the itch to maybe break through that plateau. Now that my kids could care less that I'm around as much. But it was really just staying in my lane, which helped me a lot too. Not taking every single job, sticking to, and to this day I still do it. I'll get jobs where people, they'll say that we don't have a lawn, but we need help with our gardening. We don't do gardening. So I tell them we're not the best fit for them. We focus on lawns. If you need us on a ladder ever, that's not something that we do. We focus on lawns. We can do some light bed work, light pruning and stuff, but I really stay in that lane. I've seen a lot of owners over the years that I've talked to that try to do it all. And it's tough to hire for that unless you've got a background in it where you can train or you can spot somebody you can hire specifically for that. I just try to keep it simple, do what we do a good job doing it, and respond quickly back to customers and make them happy. It's awesome. Not rocket science.
and yeah, that's great. And you can see it in your P&L, so that's cool. So Kelly, speaking of the P&L, how does the HQ help owners with their profitability?
We give them a structure, with targets for different buckets of costs. There aren't that many. It's just overhead and labor mostly. But they can see, from the beginning where they should keep their costs to maintain the cash flow. And so, and then just keeping them accountable to it as they grow. A lot of our owners are just too nice, and they pay too high, which cuts into their cash flow. But you can still be nice and get high productivity and get paid yourself, and that's where the best owners function. And so it's mostly them making the magic happen. We just have a general business model structure that if they come out and follow it from the beginning, like Aaron's describing, they're going to be good.
Yeah. And Aaron, you said you work with Dawn financially. Does she help keep your P&L kind of on track as well?
No. I'd put all that stuff in there. If there's a weird event that happens with a chargeback or something like that, she'll clean it up. She's there for cleanup stuff. But I balance it every month and I check it and stuff. So I mean, again, it's not rocket science. It's pretty easy to do for me. So yeah, she doesn't help too much on that, but I know she would if I had questions.
Yeah, cool. And I guess kind of last question that I have, Aaron, is how is the Clean Air Network in terms of the other owners? How have you interacted, helped them helped you just throughout the years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely a tool in the bag as well, is just being able to reach out to, people who are in your similar kind of climate zone. The other guys here in Portland or up in Seattle, cold weather climates, it's good to reach out and see what they're using for this particular product. And then nationally, it's great to see what other people are using for equipment. So that's a great tool just to know kind of where to focus and almost most importantly, things to avoid. Equipment that's not working, batteries that don't last very long. It's nice to have other guinea pigs. Certainly I've been a guinea pig on some things and try to share that information as well. So that work is definitely great.
Awesome. And Kelly, now Aaron's story, and so this isn't new to you, but what are just a couple of things that you could kind of recommend to people who might be looking at owning a clean air lawn care that relate back to Aaron's story and kind of what he's done?
Yeah, I think just listening to him and other people and how they succeeded, it's a simple business model we have, and the complex piece of it is the team and managing the team. And so but you can see that if you treat people well, you can tell Aaron does that, that you can build a successful team that will allow you to live a better lifestyle too. So I think that it is a simple business model. You're not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it. We can fix something we do wrong next week, so the beauty of it is it's the grass keeps growing. It's it's something that is constant. And I think it is a basic service combined with the environmental impact opportunity. We're reducing the pollution, we're increasing the carbon sequestering with our organic programs, and then also just child and pet health with organics versus chemicals. The feel-good factor of it really can keep you going on a bad day or a bad week where you're working a lot. So
yeah, awesome. All right, well, any final thoughts, Aaron, or things you want to say that I didn't ask questions about? Or
no, not really. I will say that being the outdoor company, like there was no slowdown for us during COVID. Like Kel said, the grass keeps growing. So unless we see customers or clients overall who want to just start doing their own stuff. Again, in 10 years, it's been steady. There's been no drawbacks at all. COVID, it was no blip for us at all. We'll see what happens over the next few years, but a lot of that stuff is out of our control. But again, weeds are still popping up, bushes are still growing, grass is still growing. So it's been a foolproof model for us at this point.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Aaron and Kelly too. I appreciate you guys both. And that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.